What was the main purpose of that Central Bank of Nigeria redesign policy? If you would like to start us from there.
Okay. So for starters, I want to say actually feel excited that Femi actually like stepped out to like credit CBN guys for not giving us like full details of what the total amount of money that we actually got and how much was actually utilized eventually to print the new Nairas, because as a result of that redesign policy they came up with, they distributed a lot of things at that time, like a lot of businesses, transactions were not going smoothly. So I believe it not wouldn't be fair for them to have just come out at the end of the day to say, okay, well, apologize for disrupting the activities of the country, but so far this is how much we're able to get from other sources. This is how much we utilize. Just the same way they came out to say, okay, we are redesigning our Naira to enhance the current security features, to reduce counterfeit, to promote cash management systems. So the same way they came out to give us a highlight of why we are redesigning our Naira, they should have still as well communicated eventually that, okay, sorry that we destroyed the system like this, but this is what we use, this is what we have received, and pretty much just keep us in the know of what's going on, so we don't feel left out. So yeah.
I think from October last year, when the first samples were presented to the former president Buhari back in the days, and then from December when they said when it officially came, it was supposed to begin to run till date. I mean, as an institution, like I'm just bouncing off of what you said. How can an institution just feel that episode will just continue live and like nothing happened?
Like they just left us in limbo, like no information. They just made us disrupt a lot of activities in our lives and just woke up on this. So you know what, you guys should just go back to using your own Naira notes.
Yeah.
It's like no other information. Like it's not fair. Like they just tossed us like back and forth and just left us out there to just go on their lives like nothing ever happened. Meanwhile, it destroyed a lot of things and caused a lot of havoc in different areas. So it's really funny how they handle some of these things, but
yeah,
Nigerians will always find a way to balance it out and survive at the end of the day.
It was a nightmare, so snap out of it, move on. You're awake now, that's it.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's get on to this next one. How much money did the Central Bank of Nigeria collect from customers and other sources during the Naira redesign? And how much did the central bank print during this currency redesign that, we'd like to really know?
So thanks to the request that Femi sent to CBN requesting to know how much how much funds came in through banks and customers and how much was eventually paid out, we found out that over 3.2 trillion Naira rather was received from banks and customers, but only 402 billion Naira was printed out. So what happened to the other 2 trillion Naira left? Like no information, no accountability, no details of okay, as the year unfolds, we would gradually keep printing more money so new notes can circulate properly into the system without having to retrieve the old ones back and cause the destruction we cost, in November, December period. So yeah, it's sad to know that Femi had to go through that means to like pull out this information. It's not something that should have in quote, it was forcefully requested for, because if he hadn't taken that step, I mean, we wouldn't have probably known all of these details. So yeah, so that's it.
Okay, so this would also, if for every action, there must be a reaction. So I'm just saying this to lead us to the next question, that what were some of the consequences of the Naira redesign policy on businesses and households?
So we all remember how POS owners were like the new big millionaires as at that time.
Yes.
Because we moved from 100 Naira per charge for 1,000 Naira note to 500 Naira for charges for 1,000 Naira. So if you had to get the new note, you had to pay 500 Naira. If for those that were still giving the old notes, you had to like pay 300 Naira for 1,000 Naira because of this. And of course, you wouldn't blame them, because it was a struggle for them to get that cash. In fact, so for us, they were like our own CBN, because they were the only people that could, to an extent, have access to go to the banks to get funds for us. So as a result of the whole withdrawal of old notes and restrictions to get funds, it was a struggle for us as Nigerians to receive funds. Even going to the bank to get funds was a problem. For you to withdraw your own money, there was a limit to how much you could withdraw. Going to the ATM as well was a problem, right? Then let's talk about businesses. You could not transact easily with your card anymore. In fact, as at that time, doing bank transfers was even a problem, because you would go into the market, okay, fine, there's no cash, no wahala, let's do bank transfer. But you do a transfer, I hear that you get a reversal on your end when you have left the location. So businesses were losing money, right? You're getting value for something you did not pay for at the end of the day, right? Like local markets had to imbibe the use of POS. Like a lot of POS businesses boomed that period, because that was the only way we could transact in local markets, apart from super stores that were already most times use cards, which was fine. Even we still had like card downtime as well. So it was a problem. There was low supply of cash in the system. Businesses were losing funds, because even if we tried to use the other means of transfer methods we have, you got reversals, you got people saying, oh, I didn't get the funds, I didn't get the money. So businesses were losing money, right? Customers could not get values for services they wanted to purchase, because you get things like, oh, I don't just say transfer, but it's taking you like 30 minutes, 1 hour plus to receive your money, right? So managing expenses, even in our homes, was a problem. If you were able to withdraw money and you went to the market to buy anything, you have to be very conservative. You have to be mindful, okay, this one should last for this long, because going out to get cash to make those purchases was a problem. So all of this happenings like cost because of the shortage of cash, then it had a very great impact in these different areas. So, and of course, economic stress generally, right? It was really stressful having to step out of your house every day, because before you have to leave your house, you have to think of, okay, for instance, local buses. You cannot tell drivers that you want to transfer 100 naira or 200 naira to them, right? It didn't make sense to them. Even though some of them actually eventually had to cultivate that payment method. But then, the ones that were very stubborn, so that I need my cash, like they didn't want to. Even some businesses that usually we take cash, right? So rather, usually we take card or bank transfers. They would, when you go to make those purchases as well, they won't want you to give them cash, because for them, getting cash was a problem. So if they could get cash through their own businesses, I mean, that would be great for them. So it was a whole lot of disruption, like a whole lot of disruption.
I'm going to come back and touch on the disruption itself a bit, but I'd like to get the listener to know they can be part of Business Express this morning as we revisit the Naira redesign policy and the fallout as a result of the request made by foremost lawyer Femi Falana, and a whole lot of revelation coming out as relating to how the former CBN governor printed only a fraction of what was supposed to be sent into circulation. So please, let's have your thoughts on the phone line as WhatsApp messages on 0809-444-0981. Back to you. See, now you've even talked about disruptions, household consumption pattern, businesses, and there were what you had, breach of trust, which not to the fault of people transacting now, but because fintech infrastructure just couldn't hold. It broke down. So like the wizards of old, we have to stay late, early in the morning to make transfers. We look out for around 2 a.m., 3, and it was a whole lot. But the sad part of it also, lives that were lost that we can bring back. Speak to that part of it.
Okay, so of course, it's sad to know that as a result of this, I mean, it was just in a very short time, right, that all of this happened. But the CBN never, came out to even apologize for how they just put us in a position where we had to be strategized. We had to find a way to survive within a short period of time. And you just pick up one day and say, you know what, okay, let's just go back to using our own areas. You didn't consider businesses that were affected. You didn't consider lives that were affected. There was no in quotes, like a public apology for disrupting the system the way you did, the way the CBN did, and there was no accountability record or anything. It's sad to know that, our government, our systems do not really like sometimes act like they actually do care about how we feel, our emotions, how we go about our everyday lives. They just do as they wish and believe that, we are Nigerians and eventually, you will survive, find a way to survive. But for those that have lost businesses, for those that have lost life, we would only pray that God, strengthen each and every one of us. And like I said, we'll always find a way to survive one way or the other at the end of the day and recuperate and move on, basically.
Okay, typical Nigerian expression there. But let's if you just join me, I'm speaking with our special guest this morning on Business Express. I'm talking about Daisy Erharhire, customer representative specialist at Raven Bank. Of course, you saw it all, so you're just the right person we need at this time to speak with. We saw cases where even cashiers, I didn't know they could do the jump too. They go over fences when it was. Anyway, but let's come to this next aspect. There's been criticisms from Femi Falana, the former CBN governor, over the way it was handled. So I'd like you to speak about that also, and also link it up to some of the laws they had to invoke to get these details, to extract this information we've got right now.
Okay, so just that just that we Nigerians, we don't really use some of the laws that we have access to, just the way Femi has just recently used the Freedom of Acts law to get rid of these details that we just found out about. And it's sad because we should have access to all of these things. We should be able to use our rights properly. Now, as a result of this request that has just been made and the news that has been published, it's clear that there was obviously no transparency in all of the activities that occurred in within November-December period, because if he hadn't put out this information, we wouldn't have known how much was actually received, how much was actually utilized at the end of the day. So there was no information, there was no transparency, there was no accountability, right? There's, of course, concerns about mismanagement of funds, right, as well. We don't know what you guys have used the remaining funds to do. There is no detail of, okay, this was what was left, so this is where we're going to be channeling the remaining funds into. Or, okay, instead of, since we said, fine, you guys should use the old Naira notes, well, moving on, as the year unfolds, would gradually be using the remaining sum that was received to like print out new notes, moving on. So no transparency, no accountability, and of course, generally impact on it on the whole on company economy rather. You didn't think about how all of these how all of those actions impacted the economy generally. You just moved on like like I said, you just expect us to just move on alongside with new changes and expect us to just survive, which it's like Femi said, it's not fair. It doesn't make sense that you just do all of these things and expect us to just be comfortable with it. So transparency, accountability issues, the impact of the economy generally, and possible mismanagement of funds as well, because we still don't.
Thank you very. So let's go over. We've got messages here we need to clear up. We have to wrap up the show right now. Let's see. Peter from Prestack, our clients are sending in messages already now. It says, why is this APC regime always having sleepless night over social media? And okay, then it goes on and on, but then let's move on to Benga Kamu's message is the Naira design policy showed Nigerians shege pro mass. It led to the destruction of many businesses, and so funny, no one has been charged for all the trauma they put Nigerians through. Benga Kamu's message. I've got Precious from Ogba. It says the currency reprint was not an economic disruption, but an attempt at economic suicide. it was really a terrible experience and something we shouldn't just wish away like that. Your guest did a good recap. Kudos to Daisy. That's from Precious. Let's go. I've got Oluboroko says, to be honest, Emefiele really disappointed Nigerians and threw caution to the wind because he was trying to please some certain so-called cabals. Next comes this one. Naira redesign is not a big issue. My issues are accountability on the last redesign process, and Daisy has harped on those issues a bit while she was responding. Got Yinka Bolu's message in for me here. Yinka Bolu, I hope we go after POS operators who they must not go scot-free, and that's how we get
to at that time.
They were the Lord of the Manors. If you don't want to take it, just shall go.
Just go. Like, you're not ready to beg you at all. Like, you really need to like that.
Chayo comes up with a final message for me. Says it's 2023, and what have we learned about the Naira redesign? Questions, food for thought, and for breakfast this morning. But I want to say thank you so much to Daisy Erharhire of Raven Bank. I want to say thank you so much for stopping by this morning. Hope to talk to you again tomorrow.
All right, thank you so much for having me on the show, and see you tomorrow.
Have a great day. Bye. And to those who also tuned in and listened, sending message, we say thank you so much. That's the size of Business Express on Smooth 98.1 FM. Good morning. My name is Omatseye.